All right, so let's look at different ways we can interact with layer styles. In the previous video, I showed you to activate a layer style for a layer. You can find it in the layer menu up here. Okay, so make sure the layer you want to work with is active in the layers panel, and then you could go to the layer menu, layer style, and choose one of the effects over here. Another way that you can access these layer styles is in the layers panel. So there are many ways. You can right click on it and choose blending options. That will pop up the layer style window. And you can double click on a layer. I find this the fastest way, but be careful because the layers panel is quite specific and it has many features built in. So it depends where you double click. It will do a different thing. So to get the layer styles, you want to avoid clicking on the layer thumbnail and avoid clicking on the layer name. You want to find this empty area beside that and double click to activate the layers panel. So just make sure you're clicking on this empty space of the layer. So I'm going to double click and it will pop up the layer style dialog window. For the next demonstration, I will go ahead and create a few other shapes. Okay, so let me create a layer style on one of these layers. I'm just going to show you how you could take the layer style from one layer and apply it to another. So I just added a stroke, very big and obvious so we can see it. And I'll push OK. And have a look in the layers panel to see what happened. So you see the layer now gets this little arrow, and beneath it we have the effects, and we have the specific effect that we applied. So all the layer effects that you create that get applied to the layer will be shown over here. And you get the little eyeball, just like you have for the layer, to show and hide the effect. So you can click on the individual effect to show and hide it, or you can click on the effects to show and hide all of them. In this case, there's only one, but in the situation where you have more than one, this will hide all of them at the same time. So it's very similar to the eyeball you have here where you could hide and show the layer. You can use this little arrow to expand and collapse these effects. So right now they're expanded and we can see them, but I'm just going to click this arrow to show you that you could clean up your layers panel a little bit by hiding them. The effect is still active and visible, however, the layers panel is just a little bit more clean. So to see all the effects, just remember you have this arrow here to show and hide these effects. I'd like to show you that you can take layer effects and copy them and move them around. So I think you can simply drag on effect and move it to another layer. And you see I've now applied it. I've taken it away from this layer and moved it to the other one. So I will do it again, click on effects and drag it to the green layer, and I just moved it around. You can also do it with the individual um, effect, the stroke. So to actually demonstrate stuff like this, I'm going to add another layer style to it. So I'm just going to create the gradient, the color overlay, and I'll just put a dark color. So to show you can take an individual effect and drag it around. So I clicked on color overlay, and I've now moved the color overlay to a different layer. I'll take the stroke and join it up over here. So now this layer has both the effects, and now I'll take the effects, the total sum of all of these, and move it to another layer. So you can work with individual effects, or you can work with the entire set of effects all at once. So that's for moving effects around, but you can also copy effects from one layer to another. So to do that, there are many different ways. As usual inside Photoshop, I will start by showing you, excuse me, in the Layers panel, Layer Style. You see you have this area here for copying layer style, pasting layer style, and clearing the layer style. Right now it is grayed out. Why? Because my active layer has no layer effects, layer styles. So I will choose this layer over here with these layer styles. I will come over here, layer, layer style, and I will copy layer style. So you don't really see anything happen, but what happened is the effect is now in the computer's memory. It's very similar to the copy and paste in many other applications. So the first step is to copy the layer style, but the next step is to paste it. So I will move over here to the rectangle 3 in green on bottom, and I will go to layer, layer style, and paste layer style. So we've now taken the layer style from one layer and pasted it over to the other. So this is a very quick way to copy layer styles, and I would recommend this over the alternative, which is recreating it. So if I wanted to try recreating it on this layer, it will take some time and it might not look the same because you're going to have to come here and do the color overlay and do the stroke. And in this case, it had the settings from the previous time, but usually when you're working with layer styles, it won't have this in its memory. So by using copy and paste, you very quickly take the exact same effect and paste it onto other layers. So let me show you some other ways that you can access these copy and paste layer styles. You can right click on a layer and you'll see the same options over here for copy, paste, and clear. You can also right click on the effect itself to see it. Copy, paste, and clear. Another way that you can copy these layer styles, well, you saw us move a layer style around with the mouse. So if I click and drag, I can move it to another layer. But if I hold the Alt button, so you might remember from the Move tool how the Alt button is used to duplicate a layer. So this Alt button can be used here in the Layers panel to duplicate an effect. So I will hold down the Alt button and then click and drag the effect. And that time, instead of moving it, it actually copied it. So I now have these layer styles copied to the target layer. I will go ahead and clear these layer styles. Right click and clear. And that's a very fast way for getting rid of all the layer styles.